Hi, Elliot. How's it going?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. I love your energy. I remember how amped you are, and it's wow.
I'll
really
apologize.
Something to see.
I'll apologize. Yeah, no, it could be a little overwhelming. A lot of people just refer to it as annoying, but that's okay. That's all right. I'll take it as a positive. Hey, so your big day is Sunday. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm very excited. I'm excited about the song, and it's been around for a while, but I was finally able to finish it, and Mother's Day seemed to be the apt day to share it with the world.
And can we just start with something very, very easy? Because I want to be clear. I don't want everybody to go like, oh, Liz broke off of Delta Ray. That's not the case at all. The band is still totally fine.
Yeah, definitely. The band is still rocking, and really everyone in Delta Ray is starting to explore a little bit of their own, some of their own projects as well. So, excuse me, Brittany's out there touring with her husband, and Eric's been working on a solo project as well. We just got off of tour. We were in the Midwest, and It was really, really fun.
You know what?
And we're still working on a lot of things, but yeah, I just wanted to try putting something of my own out.
You know what else I thought was pretty interesting? And then we'll get to the song, I promise, Liz, is I saw where you were talking about one of the other things about why, like you mentioned, Brittany's doing her thing and Eric's doing his thing and you're doing your thing, is that if you back up a little ways, everybody lived like essentially on top of each other. But now not everybody is next door neighbors or a couple of streets away. So over the last couple of years, like if you had an idea for a song or if you had an idea for lyrics or whatever, it wasn't just like, oh, I'm just going to walk over, just hop in the car real quick. Everybody's kind of spread out. So it isn't as easy, even though, I mean, obviously there's technology and FaceTime and all that other stuff, but it isn't just as easy to go, hey, Eric, let's get together and work on this. It's just, you just can't do that because of how everybody is living right now.
It's true. We do live far apart from each other, and we do still make sure to meet up and work together. We do something every year behind the door called a revival, where we do a live streamed actual show, and people can watch inside our online community, which is called Behind the Door. So we do still work together, but you're right. I think that the geographical spreading is also part of what has lent to a lot of members in the band also trying their individual lanes.
Hey, so if you don't mind my asking, and you don't have to give me the exact address, but where are you living now?
I'm actually weirdly the one that stayed in North Carolina. So I live in Raleigh, North Carolina.
So you didn't go anywhere. You're still in the same joint.
I'm still there, yeah. I mean, I'm not still in the same house that we all lived in together when we started, but I'm still in the Raleigh-Durham area. I moved here for the band, and then slowly the band sort of was like, all right,
we got her here. Let's go. All right. Yeah. So the song Tough Love, and you made mention, you've actually been working on it for quite some time. So even though obviously it'll be very new to us, it's not very new to you at all.
It's not too new to me. So I wrote it actually with Eric 5 or 6 years ago, sort of as an exercise of getting started with writing. And it never really felt finished, so I just sort of put it away in a little figurative box of unfinished projects of mine. And then earlier this year, I got asked to be part of a fundraiser concert for the a cappella group that I used to be in with Ian, Eric, and Brittany when we were teenagers. And they asked, well, can you do something original? And I, at first, was like, no, I can't. I'm a singer. I don't do that. Like, I'm the singer. You give me the song and then I'll sing it. And then I sort of dug in my brain and I was like, oh, what about that song Tough Love? And I looked through old iPhone demos and found it from 2017 when I was in Nashville writing with Eric. So I found it. I listened to the way he was playing it on his guitar, and I converted it to, because I don't really play the guitar, but I do play the piano a little bit. So I listened and converted it to piano. And then after playing it on the piano for a while, was able to finish it and add some parts. And then it felt finished. It wasn't finished until 2023, but it started in 2017.
Hey, didn't you take piano lessons during, like, when everything was shut down for COVID?
I did. I took them from actually Mike McKee's mom, Renee McKee. Mike plays drums in Delta.
Right.
She's an angel, and I loved it. I love the piano very, very much, and I found an abandoned piano here in Raleigh in the storage unit where Delta Ray used to store all of our stuff. So it all felt sort of like destiny, like it was almost like it was finding me. And I have it in my house here, and I spend time at it every day.
Liz, can I ask you this though? Is that hard? Like I would love to be able to play the piano. I don't play anything. I would love to be able to play the piano, but there's part of it where I think that learning it and maybe it's different because you come out of the world of music, but I feel like it would be so hard as an adult to try to learn like. To play the piano, not just to be able to like sit down and do one or two itty bitty things, but to literally sit down and be able to create music and play the piano.
It is hard. It's so hard. I mean, and I would barely classify myself as doing it. I practice a lot. I play scales. I play exercises. And then there's been a few moments where, like with Tough Love, I was just kept trying to figure out the bridge, and I kept trying to figure it out. I was playing chords. So, I mean, it's hard to describe, but it's really hard, and it takes a lot of discipline. And I would not categorize myself as like, I'm a piano player. I mean, when I put together shows in North Carolina, I put together a band and I find somebody to play the piano. It's not like I play the piano for the whole show. So I can play through songs if I practice them for forever, for years. Like I practice the song for years, and then I can do it. I played a show in April here in North Carolina, and it was the very first time that I ever played piano in front of actual humans, and I did 2 songs, and it was like after I had the band leave the stage, and it was just me and the piano. And I did 2 songs, and I got through them.
Were they instrumentals?
Terrifying.
Were they instrumentals?
No, they were covers.
You had to play and sing? No way.
Well, yeah, well, I think the idea of me just playing like that would not be interesting enough because my playing is not like complex and beautiful like a George Winston or a Ray Charles. I mean, it's kind of like the blue collar working, play the chords that make the song go playing. So yeah, I played and sang. I did Someone Like You by Adele.
Oh, that's
and then
cool.
It was really it was great to just try it. It was something that I had wanted to try for a long time.
So Tough Love. Let's get to the song. You keep throwing me off my course. So Liz, you write Tough Love, and it's all about your mom. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful song about your mom. And you talk about how she's a teacher. She's a pistol. She's the strongest person you've ever met. And it really talks about how, and reading afterwards and understanding that, what an influence she is on you, but just it completely comes out in the song about the adoration that you really have for your mother.
Yes, I do. It really was inspired by her. And I like to think that it could be an anthem for anyone who is a single parent or who grew up with a single parent. Or really like a solo caregiver. I don't want to alienate, people who maybe were raised by someone solo that wasn't just a mom. But my mom is a beast. She's very fierce, and she raised me and my brothers completely solo. My parents split when we were really little, and he just sort of wasn't in the picture. And she figured it all out on her own. No child support. She worked full time as a school principal in a public elementary school, and we never heard anything from her about how hard it was or how tired she was or anything. Even though I know that she was. She's like a little more open about it now.
Right.
But and she did all of it with just positivity, a sense of humor, grace. And I think now that I'm not old, but I'm 37. Now that I'm seeing other friends with kids and everything, and I see how hard it is. I don't have kids of my own, but I just see other people raising kids, and it's such a beautiful and difficult chapter of life. I see them do it even as a team. It looks difficult, and then I reflect and think about my mom having done it on her own. And I'm like, good God, how did she do that? Like, just how did she do it?
Hey,
so that's really where it came from.
Hey, Liz, there's a lyric in the song, and you mentioned that your father was out of the picture, and you mentioned in the song that he broke a promise, and that, I mean, that's really kind of the only reference, other than that when you guys were young and he left. Have you never, like, did he leave and that was it, or is there no contact with him at all?
So we did have contact, but he just wasn't. He wasn't like it wasn't like some divorced families where, you go to dad's for the weekend, you go back to mom's for the week. It was like, it wasn't a regular thing. Sometimes we saw him, but it was very touch and go, and he couldn't be depended upon.
Right. And clearly wasn't, even if not physically, but even for just support wise or help wise with your mom, he wasn't there for that either.
No, he definitely wasn't.
Right. Now, when did your mom first hear the song?
I sent it to her years and years ago before it was even finished, which feels funny now because it feels like such a different song. But she actually came out to North Carolina in the end of April, and she came to my show. So it was so fun because she was in the very first time I ever played Tough Love with a full band. My mom was in the audience, dancing like a maniac. So it was really great.
Did she bawl?
Yeah.
Did she bawl?
I don't think that she bawled at that time because there was bass and drums. Like, if there's bass and drums involved, my mom is going to dance. Oh. She loves to dance. Yeah, I'm definitely her daughter. I mean, we love to dance. If it was just me with the guitar, she'd probably bawl, but there was a whole band going, so she was focused on shaking it.
Hey, you also talk about how your mom would be brutally honest and could be a real ball buster at times. Was she?
Oh my God, yes.
Like, I like, to the point where, like, did she ever tell you, like, early on, like you always hear about, like, when musicians, bands, whatever it is, start out early on, it's hard. It's really hard. And some bands, I think of, Liz, I think of the first time that I met you and Delta Ray was coming through, and you guys came in, and I think we went down and saw the van, and I believe we blamed Brittany for it, but the van was an absolute pigsty. Everything that you guys had was in the van, but it wasn't like, oh, well, we just drive that to the bus and then we get on the bus. It was that was your life, was living in that van, going from city to city and town to town and playing wherever you could for whoever would come up. Would your mom ever be, and I don't mean this like she didn't believe in you, but just maybe knowing how hard it is, was your mom ever one to go, hey, I'm just going to be brutally honest with you, Liz, this may not be the right thing to do?
My mom has always been brutally honest about everything. So I don't know if she ever said this might not be the right thing to do. She definitely acknowledged this looks like a really hard thing to do. And also has asked probing questions over the years, how long are you going to do this? Are you sure that this is, like, what happens when you want to have a family? Questions like that. But I mean, absolutely, you're right that she's a ball buster, and I definitely remember all of those years in the van. But she has always been very encouraging of the band. She loves the songs. She loves Ian, Eric, and Brittany. Like, we've all known each other since we were really little. So she's always been a fan. She's flown to different shows that we've played all over the country. She's housed Mike and Grant back in the day. Me, Mike, and Grant used to all stay at my mom's, and then Ian, Eric, and Brittany would stay at their mom and dad's back when our parents all lived in California. So I think I'm answering your question. She's always been very supportive, and yet also painfully honest, like the song says.
Right. Hey, so how did you answer? What are you going to do when you start a family?
Well, I'm working. I have another song that I'm going to put out soon that's called Growing Brighter, and it's kind of a reaction to that question.
Oh.
I think that my answer about that is just like, we're going to figure it out when we get to it. I mean, I have seen a lot of musicians over the years and bands that they do have families and they make it work. I mean, it's different than your white picket fence and your 2.4 kids and somebody goes to work and somebody stays home. But I don't believe that it's impossible.
Oh no, of course not. Of course not. The two other things about your mom, Liz. Number one, I love the artwork of like you in like that little carry thing on your mom's back. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Very cute.
That's an old photo that I found at our house, just straight out of the 80s.
It's awesome. But you know the other photo that I love, and especially like if you kind of look at them side by side or just kind of like going back and forth. So you have that one where like you barely hold your head up and you're like on your mom's back getting a piggyback riding like a old school baby Bjorn. But the one of you and your mom in Egypt, dude, that picture is how great is that?
Oh my God, you're so cool. Yeah, we just went there. We went there in December and it was like just blew our minds. We were all over Egypt. We were in Morocco and Egypt, and the pyramids were really so wild. I mean, just you can look at them in pictures and that's one thing, but to actually be there in person and be looking at them in real life is just really mind-boggling. And more than the pyramids even are the temples, which are not in that picture. But I really recommend checking out Egypt to anyone that has the wherewithal to fly that far.
Yeah, no, I mean
she's a big traveler. She's always. Thank you. I took that. I'm not a great photographer. That's like the one picture I took that like worked out on that trip. But she's my mom always describes herself as a lifelong learner, and she really is. Like she has so many different places. She's very well traveled, and still has more places on her list. And when we were on that trip, we were in like a tour group, and she asked more questions than anyone else in the group. Like she was like almost trying to stump the guide who has like a master's degree in Egyptology.
Now, I don't know who Egypt Elliot would have been, but could you hear him in the group going, "Oh God, please"? I mean, I think I could see him in the group. I don't know if I heard him, but I could see a few facial expressions, just like, really, this lady wants to learn more. But I mean, you know, she's a teacher and she's also a learner. She's she's curious like a cat. She's got so many questions. Hey, so Liz, you mentioned that there's another song coming. Is there going to be an entire Liz Hopkins record, or are we just going to do kind of singles along the way?
That's a great question, Elliot. I definitely have aspirations of putting out original music. I'm still putting together the big picture on that in terms of how many songs can I write and where will the time come from to get into the studio? But I would like to, if my life allows.
All right. And then I have two other things for you real quickly. Number one, I saw a video that you posted, Liz, where you talk about how you, your pre-studio, before you go into the studio to record something, what you do to get ready. Now, I'll tell you, before seeing this would have been my thought. And I mean, listen, I've told you this. You're an you know it. You're an unbelievable singer. You have a beautiful voice.
You.
Okay, stop. No, but I would assume like you take decent care of yourself, and you go in there and you sing. But you do like 30 minutes of cardio. You're blowing through some straw. Like that's a whole routine before you even go in to sing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I do really believe in the benefits of exercise and moving and being loose before singing are, you've got to be warm if you want to do a good job in the studio or on stage. So that is why I do a lot of vocal coaching, by the way. If anyone's looking for one, get in touch with me. But yeah, I made that video originally for a student, and then I decided to edit out some of the specific things and just post it because I do get a lot of questions about how do you prepare for stage? How do you prepare for studio? So preparing your body for this stage is just as important as preparing your mind and your vocal cords and your throats.
But before you ever go into a studio to record anything, you work out.
I try to. I mean, if it's like a 9 a.m. call at the studio, then maybe not. But like if it's 12 or 1 and I can get a little workout in before, then yes, I will. I mean, even if it's 20 minutes, if it's 30 minutes, if it's going on the elliptical, then I'll get it in. And if I can't get it in, then I'll just do some jumping jacks. Like when we're at the studio, I'll do some jumping jacks before, because it warms up your body and gets your whole, trying to do things cold. I mean, if you think about, I don't know if you've ever played any sports or anything. Did you play sports?
Excuse me, I'm still playing old man beer league hockey, Liz.
Oh my gosh, there you go. So before your hockey games, don't you do a little bit of a stretch or a little bit of a, you move around and warm up before you start?
You know what? I'm glad you asked. So I like to get to the locker room 40 minutes before game time to get all the gear on. So before that, I drive to 7-Eleven. I get a large coffee, and the 7-Eleven is just far enough away that I can have 2 cigarettes before I pull into the parking lot.
Okay.
The end.
So that's your warm up.
The end. Yes, so that's it.
I love that. It's a real Washington, D.C. City slicker warm up. A coffee and some cigarettes. I love it. Hey, if it works for you, it works for you.
I followed the same routine before this show as well.
They're ultralights.
Hey,
That's so funny.
Last thing for you, Liz, and then I'll let you go. How is your 5-day juice cleanse going?
It is, honestly, I'm so ready for it to be over. I'm having juice and I'm having coffee, and that's what I'm having. And I I'm not hungry. Like, there's enough calories in each juice that I don't feel like hungry or starving at the end of the day, but I just miss the flavors, the salty, the smoky, the crunchy, the textures. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get so... Just I miss the smells. I miss garlic. There's a lot of savory. I started writing down on this little Post-it last night with my husband. I was like, let's start writing down a list of what we're going to eat on Monday. And he was like, oh my God, babe. And I started writing it down. I have it here.
What are you eating?
I wrote salmon, chicken wings, sourdough, Indian food, meatballs, brisket, and pasta with red sauce.
Yes.
That's what I wrote for Monday.
That's only on Monday.
And I told that to my husband, Greg, and he was like, well, I really think that when we get back to eating, we should really ease into it. I was like, are you effing kidding me? So, I mean, I think it's going okay, but we decided to do this because we were coming from a wedding where we ate a lot of really rich and sort of bad for you foods. We're like, oh, let's do a cleanse. Yeah, it's going all right. I think I'll really appreciate food starting Monday.
Liz Hopkins, Tough Love, the debut single is out on Sunday. Liz, the song is great. I love you to death. You know that.
Thank you, Elliot. This was so much fun. I'll talk to you anytime. Call me anytime. We can talk about hockey and warm-ups and all kinds of things.
There we go. Hey, Liz, I appreciate it. Thank you.